Today's gospel from Matthew presents us with a beautiful story filled with lots of imagery, things that catch our attention, stars and these traveling kings and Herod and just so many things. It also sets in motion the horrible story, unfortunately, of the madman Herod, who out of jealousy and a lust of power slaughters hundreds of innocent children. And it introduces us to the Magi from the east, who have seen a star at its rising and who have come to do him homage. We are told they come bearing gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh for the newborn king. Over the years, this story has been embellished by giving the Magi names. It's not mentioned in the gospel, but they're given names: Balthasar, Melchior, and Casper. Of course, if you're my age, you think of Casper the ghost, okay? And they're also given the title of kings, although there's no real proof that they were kings of any kind. They probably were more of a Persian or a Babylonian wise men and priests who were experts perhaps in astrology or interpretation of dreams, or who possessed some magical skills. Well, this is a gospel rich in theological imagery. I would like to focus on the first words spoken in this story. Where is the newborn King of the Jews? Where is the newborn King of the Jews? These might be the most important words we will hear in Scripture this year. Put another way, where do we find Jesus? Because we're always on a journey towards Jesus. After our final Mass next weekend, the dismantling of all our beautiful Christmas decorations here in the church will begin, in great precision, by the way. In our homes, we have probably finished exchanging our gifts, swapping cards, eating rich food, and maybe burned out with the endless refrain from Mariah Carey about all she wants for Christmas. By now, our stuffed trash cans filled with tinsel and wrapping paper have been disposed properly, and our Christmas trees are packed away or have been dragged to the curb for pickup. After all of this whirlwind activity, the most important question still remains: where is the one who is the reason for the season? Matthew's gospel, I believe, today offers us some clues, some suggestions. The gospel tells us he is not in a palace with another king named Herod. He is not surrounded by servants and footmen with wealth and power. No, in Matthew, Christ is discovered in a simple house where the Magi saw the child with Mary and his mother. As we heard in the readings from January 1st, the Solemnity of Mary, the Mother of God, the first visitors included shepherds, simple men who worked in the fields and tended flocks. It's real clear the newborn king's court is different from any other king's court. Christ is discovered among the humble, the overlooked, the marginalized, and that's a tough word to say today, and the meek. Matthew also points out that Christ is discovered off the beaten path. He is in a small town that most people wouldn't think about twice, Bethlehem. No, nobody knew where that really was. This most extraordinary child is found among the most ordinary of people, in the most ordinary places, so ordinary that you have to search diligently, as Herod put it, to find him. Christ could be anywhere. He could be anyone, but to search for Christ is worth the effort. Matthew also finds us reminds us that even amid the darkness of this world, Christ is discovered where there is light. A star guides the way to the place where the newborn King is found. The point is clear. If you want to find the newborn King, follow the light. It is difficult to do that in a world so often overcome by shadows and darkness, especially now in a time when people are fearful, uncertain, divided, terrified, and even terrorized. It was that way in Jesus' time as well, as we know what Herod did. But look at where the Magi found the Son of God, in a forgotten corner of the world, among forgotten people, under a star. Where is Christ? Follow the light. Mother Teresa once famously said, boy, I'm in trouble tonight. Mother Teresa once famously said that Christ often comes to us in the distressing disguise of the poor. Seek him as the Magi did, and we may see other distressing disguises. It may be in a child hungering for a warm meal or a warm home, a warm embrace. Jesus may be found among those who are not near the centers of power, the elderly that are alone and forgotten, or the sick who have been neglected, or the weary and battered who feel alone and misunderstood. He is the refuge fleeing persecution. He is the homeless seeking shelter and work. If the first words spoken in this gospel offered us a profound challenge, the last ones in the gospel offer us profound hope. The Magi, we are told, had to go home by another way. Go home by another way. An encounter with Christ means we need to change directions. Where do we find the newborn King of the Jews? Herod's answer to the Magi still speaks to us. Search diligently. Look within inside, because we'll never find that child until we've accepted that child within each of us. If we do like the Magi, we will find our way home by another way. In the words of an old poem, two men looked out of their prison bars. One saw mud, and the other stars. May we all avoid the tendency of seeing in these days only the mud of our troubled world, and instead, may we focus on the star of our faith that will lead us to the hope, love, and forgiveness that only Jesus can bring us.